Hello everyone, welcome to the Icehouse podcast. Today we have Trudi Duncan, owner of Gyro Plastics, and she is on our Owner Manager Program 53 and is chatting to us today about her experience and her business journey. So welcome, Trudi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on. First things first, explain to us your business and your journey of becoming a business owner.
Right, so Gyro Plastics, we're a rotational moulding company. So that's plastics manufacturing basically. And so our company, we manufacture product, generally bulky, large plastics. When you think of rotational moulding, you might recognise water tanks or agricultural products such as feed troughs, and a lot of product around waste management and on farms. Our product is actually directly to the electrical distribution industry. But how I came into this business, it's actually family owned, but I couldn't find a job. So this was not where I had planned to be. I didn't really have any intention of working in the family business or becoming an owner of the family business. It had just never really crossed my mind. My father had always talked about selling the business at some point when he'd had enough. But basically, after my postgraduate degree, I just couldn't get a job. I got the old sort of overqualified for the job line, and it just wasn't working. I was actually riding horses sort of semi-professionally at the time. And my now husband, he said to me, that's not sustainable, the job basically. And if you can't get a job, then go and work for your father. So I did.
Wow.
And yeah, so what that looked like, I guess, was doing all the lackey stuff. So I started off, I think, paying wages and doing the accounts, putting invoices in envelopes, putting stamps on those envelopes, getting the faxes off the fax machine. And I just did more and more from there.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So we're recording this in level 4 at the moment. Are you guys an essential service? How's that all working for you?
Yeah, so because our company supplies to the power infrastructure companies, so for example, that would be Vector in Auckland or PowerCo in the Manawatu, and they themselves and their contractors require a product from us for emergency faults or repairs. So we basically maintain a full operation. It looks a little bit different, although our factory is rather large and we don't have a lot of people on the ground, so we can space ourselves out quite well. And we have sort of a reduced amount of deliveries going out each day, but that's still happening.
Still all, yeah, because I'm vibing you're in an office, is that right?
I'm in an office, yeah, and I'm overlooking the factory at the moment, yeah.
Awesome, cool, awesome, that's great insight. What does the day in the life of Trudi look like?
It's a bit hectic. So I've got four kids under 7 actually.
Wow.
With the youngest being nearly 1. So basically, the morning is just managing all of that. And they all go in different directions. So we've got one child going off to primary school, the others going off to various kindergartens and daycares, although at the moment, obviously not. And then I guess once I get to work, I'm really lucky in that I've got some excellent team members. So I've managed over the last probably 2 years to pull myself out of the daily operation. So, not dealing with any sales or incoming calls or accounts or anything like that. I work mainly, I guess, in strategy. So what does it look like for Gyro in 2 years' time, and what are the things we need to do to get there? What are all the emails I need to send off to start pulling some strings? What products might we be looking at? So connecting with the design team. So we've actually got 3 staff members who work remotely. 2 of them in Auckland and 1 in Taupo. So awesome. A lot of my day is Google Meets with them, Google Chat, messaging backwards and forwards, going, what's up? I can't make sense of this, or we use lots of. I'm a software nerd, so I love integrated software, and so we're all plugging away, trying to connect with each other. yeah, so that's kind of my daily life. And then at the end of the day, I guess it's just back to collecting all up the kids, a mad hour between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. until they can get to bed, and then go relax in the spa or something.
Nice. I love that. That's cool. Well, you seem like a very efficient person, which is why I've thrown this question into the mix. What is your response when people ask how you do it all? And I mention that because Raywin and Liz have told me that you bring your youngest on program. You're currently on the owner manager program. You bring your youngest there and have worked with an alumni company, Rockmybaby, to be able to have some support and care while you're actually in the sessions. You obviously have some efficient processes in place and have made some decisions around how you are going to be in business and keep family afloat and all that sort of thing. I just sort of want to have a chat about that because I think there'd be lots of female business owners and leaders listening in and sort of wanting to hear that they can do, that someone else is doing it as well and they can too.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two parts to that question. So I guess my first is to answer, what's my response when people say, how do you do it all? There's this real tension for women and then, going further, working mums, and that we want to uphold that, look at how great I am. We typically start out in business. So, look at how great I am in achieving my goals in business. And then I have a family and I want to achieve all my goals with my family. And that becomes, I have to achieve everything. And then, we have to remember, I heard this recently that, this concept of a 40-hour work week was created back when there was somebody at home taking care of all the domestic duties. And so it's okay to not actually be able to do it all. So generally my response is actually just to be really honest that I don't. I'm really honest now with myself about what I have compromised and what I'm happy to. And so actually as I've got busier in my life, whereas I've had more children in my life, I've actually let more stuff go and allowed myself to. So I was way more anal when I had less kids and actually technically less stuff to worry about. And I actually put a lot more pressure and a lot more stress on myself then than I do now. So now I go, you know what, it's not achievable. I can't do everything. And so I'm just not going to worry about that thing, or I'm still going to worry about it, but I'm not going to let it take my headspace, and I'm not going to rush around and tidy everything up there because it's just not important. Or actually it's important to me and it bothers me, I don't have the time to do it, so I'm going to pay for the ability to do it, or to have somebody do that for me. And I guess I try to be really honest with particularly other women when they say that. Although I am also working on saying thank you, thanks that you've recognized my efforts, I suppose, because it's really easy also for us to play down how much we do try and how much effort we do put in. So I am working on just saying thanks, but I really don't want to put out this idea that you can do everything and you can be 50 hours at work and then you can go home and do all the hours at home with your kids and give every little bit of energy that your kids need and every little bit of the energy that your business needs and be completely mentally healthy and happy. It just you can't just keep giving and giving. So I try and put out there that I don't, and it's okay to not do it all. Things will fall down. Some days you'll feel guilty that you haven't gone and seen your kids' assembly and gotten a certificate, and then some days you'll feel guilty that a staff member is unhappy that you're out of the office. And that's just how it rolls.
Yeah, totally. Love your honesty there.
But I guess on the other side of that, I've been super lucky. I mean, I've over the last 7 years with my kids, I have worked from home a lot in terms of our factory. I actually wasn't outside. Our factory was in a different city. So that had its own challenges, obviously working from home with my kids at various stages of their life at home. That was probably the trickiest time when, that sort of 0 to 12 months, if they were at home with me, not having maternity leave. I didn't find it a negative, as in it wasn't sort of negatively stressful. It was just a lot. It was just a lot happening. Even now people will appreciate with lockdowns trying to take phone calls and have meetings with young kids around. It's really tricky. And so that was probably the hardest part super lucky that I had really understanding customers.
Mm.
Our customers are typically men, and even the people that I would be chatting to would be typically male engineers in the power industry, and actually they were really responsive to it. They just said, "Oh, you go do what you need to do." So that was really cool.
Yeah.
But bringing our youngest along to the program has been really fun. It's actually sort of been a icebreaker between me and the rest of the people on the owner manager program. It's really cool. Like, he'll come along to dinner. Often like the after dinner session, there might be a speaker and he'll hang out with us, and some of the other people on our program. Often a lot of the guys, they'll come and grab him, and they'll I don't think I even saw him for 2 hours the other night because other people were playing with him and feeding him and looking after him. So, that was really cool. So being able to sort of connect with, I didn't realize Rockmybaby was an alumni.
Let's let me know. Yeah,
that was really cool. So just jumping on to their website and booking a babysitter through there has been super easy. And I've had the best experience with them. Now, the babysitters come along and they're so well planned. They've clearly got some sort of exceptional processes going on in the background, because my engagement with the babysitters every time is exactly the same, and they're different people.
Right. Yeah.
So they've obviously done really well at that. And it's just really allowed me to come to the program, hand Guy to this babysitter. So Guy is our child's name. Hand him over to the babysitter, and actually just be really present. Because I wasn't ready, I think, to leave Guy at home. He's going to be my last, so I wanted to bring him with me. And I don't know if I would be really engaged, if I was thinking about it.
The fact of where is he and all that sort of stuff.
So him being there, being well cared for, and Raywin has been super super helpful in organising car seats and bassinets and all that kind of stuff, and she'll come over and have a cuddle, and it's just been really easy. Like, it hasn't been a hassle whatsoever. And I was a little apprehensive about whether people would think it was weird or whether I was being difficult, and it's not that vibe whatsoever. It's not been hard. It's almost kind of been encouraged, and I think Guy was meant to have his first birthday on our next block, which is probably now cancelled because of lockdown. Everybody was getting excited about celebrating his birthday, and
it's a family affair. It's so cool. And this podcast is happening because I walked into the office one Monday, and Raven's like, "Oh my gosh, Bryar, you have to talk to Trudi. She's just amazing." And it's just been just this fun experience, and the whole handing of Guy down, all the people over dinner, and just loving on Guy. And that's really cool that you've had a really good experience. It's great to hear. Hopefully many more situations like that, leading the way a little bit, being our first. So it's great. Cool. When did you first hear of the Icehouse and our owner manager program that you're on at the moment?
So I've got a friend, Sarah Lawrence. She's from DC Power in Palmerston North. So she completed the owner manager program last year, I think, is when she completed hers. So we were introduced actually not that long ago by a mutual business mentor of ours. And I don't know, we were just chatting one day, and we generally talk about business and all the things that we're going through that day, or what's on the top of our mind, and she mentioned the Icehouse, and I came back to work, and I think within like half an hour I'd rung up the local regional Icehouse manager and said, "Oh, how do I do this?" And then was really frustrated to find out I couldn't just do it straight away. It's kind of my nature is jump in. So having to wait between, having made that conversation at the start of the program was this real sense of anticipation. It probably built it up. So that's how I came across it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And Sarah Lawrence is amazing. Big fan. Nice. So you are currently on program. Sum up your owner manager program to date. It's been really fun. We've got a really cool group, and to be honest, it's like I've just been introduced as an adult to this like whole bunch of new friends that I would never have expected to create, and it is genuinely like that. We have this group WhatsApp chat now, and
it's funny, you know, things will occur during my day and I can't wait to WhatsApp, you know, my friends on my owner manager program.
Awesome.
Which it seems really, you know, that seems really, really silly.
Awesome.
But I mean, we've got some really good banter going on daily, but I mean, there's been some really good parts of the owner manager program, particularly for me, the 360-degree leadership profile feedback, the anonymous feedback that we received from our direct reports and managers above us, that was really enlightening for me.
Cool.
And on the first day, learning a little bit about, you know, what are the important, what do I find financials look like? How much should we be interacting with them? Do we actually know them as well as we think we do? Being challenged on that, sort of a high level overview of, you know, what are the parts of governance of a business that we should be thinking about, which we often find tricky when we're working on a daily basis in our companies. And I guess that's a real theme in our group and probably in most groups, is that people finding it hard to make time to work on their businesses.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably why a lot of us go to the Icehouse, is we're all recognizing that that's what we need to do. We need to work on it. But how do we seek the advice or the consultation or the best practice about what we should be doing? And just how do we seek that block of time to actually be able to do it?
Yeah. Brilliant sum up. I love that. Cool. What have I got here? Any highlights or moments that have stuck out to you so far?
Yeah, and I say this a bit tongue in cheek, but there's some real value in it. So the social nights for our group has been absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I guess it's created this real sense of, I mean, this sounds a bit fluffy, but of belonging. You know, this really strong peer group that we can connect to and laugh with and joke with and take the piss out of, and you know, that, and then just that, then being able to turn around and ask for advice. You know, because we are connected and we don't feel like we're using somebody or we don't feel awkward, and there's this level of honesty which we can now have. Because we've been, you know, been silly and, you know, had a fun night together. Whereas, you know, those barriers would not normally have been broken down in a classroom session. And I mean, there's some competitors in the room. You know, it's not like it's necessarily a immediately natural environment. But it's something about it that's easy. And I think a lot of it is partly to do with the way that Raywin and Deb and Dal and Liz bring everybody together and kind of encourage that family group feeling. And, you know, how they talk about the alumni and how they create this sense of community. And so you already automatically feel you're part of, you know, this special thing. And they really do, you know, the sort of the coordinators, you know, they really do create this sense that you're the only ones. You know, right now you're the focus, and you're the only ones that are going on this pathway and through this program, and you're quite aware that you're not. You know, next week you're doing another owner manager program, but it really doesn't feel like that. You know, you get that I'm away for 3 days and it's all about, you know, me and my business and this group of other people who can bring something to the table for me.
Yeah, that's so cool. And so my role is the community manager, and so I look after everyone once they finish program and just sort of keeping them in that community. And it's just so amazing to be talking to people, like, honestly, from like doing the program 15 to 20 years ago in some cases, and still just that sense of connection with their cohort, or maybe there's like sort of maybe they've kept in touch with like 2 or 3 of them, but you know, they're now like the bestest of friends, and it's so special. Like you said, especially as an adult, you don't really get that fresh injection of friendships and really great connection. So that's really awesome to hear. I love that. Cool. What changes, if any, have you implemented into your business, but also your lifestyle? I quite like the lifestyle one, since doing the program, or, you know, during the program.
So there's lots of business stuff that I've come back and done. One of them standing out to me, like I mentioned, being the leadership profile. I found that as a result of that, both myself and my team members who gave me feedback on that anonymously all highlighted that my weaknesses were around sort of certain points. And it was really interesting when I saw that, because actually those were the things that in my daily business life I used to get annoyed about. You know, I used to and I didn't realize that I was causing them. I sort of thought there were things that were happening to me or being done to me in that day. And when I saw that, I suddenly realized, actually, I'm causing the frustration. I'm part of that, and I could make some things happen. I'll actually remove that, and it's not going to annoy me, you know, anymore. So that, I mean, that was a really big light bulb moment for me, and it was around delegation of authority and learning to let go of stuff. So that was super cool.
Awesome.
In terms of lifestyle, we had this wellbeing session when we were on the program down at Cromwell, I think. No, we weren't in Cromwell, we were in Christchurch. And we were talking about sort of the things that we do in our daily life to, I guess it was about reducing stress, but, you know, just round us out. And one thing which had been annoying me for ages was, you know, I had 4 kids and I was getting older and I was stiff, and I used to complain every day about how I was sore and I was getting old, and you know, I'd get out of bed and I was sore. And anyway, I went away from there and I said, right, I'm going to do half an hour of stretching every night. And I did that. I stuck to that, and it made a huge difference. And then at the next owner manager block course, we were doing drinking games, and my stretching really came to the fore when we had to do a splits challenge and suck up a piece of paper off the floor. So I was really proud of that. And something that I'd practiced, you know, actually came into play. But I mean, not being silly around that. Like, definitely that, you know, that well-being session. Actually, it's interesting when you talk to our group. So many people say they took something away from that. You know, people are talking about logging their sleep. You know, having a sleep app which records you when you sleep, or like when you wake up, and you know, them listening to it, going, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I did that," and then looking at what are the actions that they take during their day that affect their sleep, and then as a result, how they feel and how they function. And you know, we've got some other people in our group doing this out there stuff, like, you know, ice baths all the time. And so yeah, I mean, the well-being and the lifestyle sense is definitely not forgotten. These courses, what we bring, it's often the stuff that people really latch on to, because, you know, we spend a lot of time on our business, maybe not so much on ourselves.
It's gold. It's so good. And again, having conversations with people from 15 years ago, and the well-being chat still was, you know, probably the thing that they took from it the most and implemented into their worlds is more of that work-life balance and how to actually do that. Love it.
Cup of tea. There's my, you know,
love that so much. That's brilliant. I love that. Cool. Awesome. Have you taken any learnings from your group so far? You've sort of mentioned it already, but I think just that balance of having that social time to be able to bounce off each other, but then just be able to ask for genuine business advice as well. Anything from your group you can think of?
I mean, there's lots of stuff going on in our group, honestly. So I mean, and I think something that I can't stress more is that importance of networking. And a lot of people find it hard to place value on networking. You know, when we're so busy worrying about what our books look like, what our numbers look like, it's really easy to go, I can't afford to pay to go to that industry networking event because it's not actually going to return me value. I mean, I guess with this program, you're getting the best of both worlds. But I mean, right now during lockdown, so we're really lucky to have a super amazing accountant in our group, and she's super passionate about helping people, and she's passionate about accounting, and she's really fun. And you know, even just during lockdown, you know, straight away she was reaching out saying, "Hey guys, this is the information I've got. Give me a call. I'll help you apply it to your businesses."
Brilliant. Love that.
And we've got a pharmacist in our group, and he's going, right, this is, you know, these are the things you can apply within your business, and this is you know, reach out if you're having any issues connecting with health services, and there's people trying to figure out how to operate their businesses and how to determine if they're level 4. And so
Brilliant.
yeah, I guess for me that learning of continuation of networking being really important, and ultimately probably what is going to bring us the biggest growth opportunities going forward.
That's cool. And I love that on program, it's not everyone from the same industry. It's such a mix, like an accountant and a pharmacist, like what? Like that's so different, but we can all learn off each other in so many ways. So it's really cool. I like that.
I mean, you obviously have all the typical stuff like, looking at your business plan and looking at your strategic plan and, what are you doing and what does your structure look like? I mean, you expect to get that stuff, right? That's what you think you're going on this course for. And it's there and it's really useful. And I mean, I think I took pages and pages of notes of things that I've thought a lot about that stuff, but there was, I needed to be in that room on that course on that day. And I went, oh yeah, but actually I've forgotten this aspect. So all of that stuff's there, but ultimately, that's not what drives the true value, I think, of Icehouse.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. Nice. From your point of view, what is the best way business owners can look after their teams in the current season we're in and out of lockdowns and the uncertainty of it all? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, it's super challenging. I think I swing on a pendulum on any one day about, the approach I take. But from that, I guess I take, agility, not backing yourself into a corner, not writing out the super detailed plan about how you're going to cope with every level change and the different activities that you're going to do at each one. That's important. We definitely had that. What are the simple steps that we might take so that I don't have to be on the phone trying to provide direction every time the 1 p.m. briefing comes along and something changes. But I also purposely kept it quite vague enough that we didn't have, we hadn't provided information to employees and then we had to change that, because that was what was creating for us in the first lockdown. That's what created the most confusion and apprehension. I had tried to be all over the detail. I tried to give everybody as much information as possible and say, look, this is what we're going to do. And then something would change that came out of the blue and I had to backtrack. And I didn't appreciate how nerve-wracking that was for people. I wasn't feeling that. And so I just was not appreciative of how much actual additional confusion I was causing them. So try, stick to your facts at hand, put a basic plan in place, and then just stay on the phone with people. It's really tough to find that challenge, that balance between what is financially or fiscally right for your company, and what is right for the people that are working in it. And I mean, ultimately, if you don't have the people working in it, you're not going to have your business either. But on the day when cash is getting tight, it's a really big call to make. So I guess that's where I put the importance on. Don't back yourself into a corner. Don't get yourself stuck with something that you can't change.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, so good. And yeah, I think going into the second level 4, the first one was it was so new. We had no idea what to do. We'd never experienced this. We're sort of making up as we go. And so business owners sort of had to put, those things in place. But this one, it looks a little different in terms of people sort of know what to expect on the other side of it, that we can come out of it as a nation and a little bit more relaxed, I think. But yeah, keeping the balance is hard as a business owner, I'm sure. Nice. Is there a piece of advice you would give to business owners of small, medium businesses in New Zealand at this time?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just about at this time, but in general, it was my focus to start with, was just get really intimate with your numbers. A lot of small businesses or even medium businesses, we outsource a lot of our bookkeeping and a lot of our accounting. And I mean, obviously there's legal obligations, so I'm not saying go break the law. But I mean, if you have the ability to, and you have the time or the inclination, I guess, do as much of your own bookkeeping, manual journaling, understanding your profit and loss and your balance sheet as much as possible. It doesn't actually take much to start to understand exactly how your business functions, and you can drive so much extra value or so much extra profit ultimately out of just being really intimate with the things you can get rid of and the things you can't. now my challenge, having done that, now I know exactly how healthy I can make my business, and I've really squeezed the lemon, so to speak, and got every drop out of it. Now I know how far I've taken that, and my challenge now is to then delegate that authority and allow other people to continue with that and make decisions around finances. So that's going to be my big thing. But if you're always outsourcing, that, ultimately at the end of the day, we need a profitable company to drive growth. Or even not growth if that's not what you're interested in, just to drive sustainability. So if you can afford that time, I think that's where it really needs to be.
Yeah, totally. So many business owners are like, oh no, don't look at that. Yeah, pass that one on. But it is the lifeblood of a business.
And I mean, I know as small businesses, we like to be able to kind of I won't say hide expenses, but I've tried to make my my expenses or my P&L as clean and as transparent as possible, so that I know for a fact that my business would stand up on its own. And for me, that's been really important. So I didn't have to, lots of people are potentially, when they're using drawings from their business as well, it's really easy for that to get murky.
Yeah, totally. Nice. Awesome insight. I quite like this last question. Well, it's kind of two questions in one, but because at the start you kind of mentioned that you never really planned to be in the family business, but now you're running the show. So what makes being in business exciting for you, and what excites you most about the future of Gyro Plastics?
So exciting business to me, I guess, actually looks like my own professional development. It's seeking out what don't I know, what can I learn, how can I make it better. I'm really driven by processes. I'm quite administrative and operational. So I mean, pulling myself out of the daily stuff has been challenging, but looking for those areas where there's a little hole or where there's an inefficiency, and how can I make that better? How can I improve somebody's life or working life by improving that process? Or a customer, what solution can I bring to them that they go, oh, that's so cool, like why did we not know about that? That's what drives me. Awesome. That continuous improvement focus. What excites me the most? I think that's a big one. We've got heaps of strategic development happening in the background. I've not really managed to get any of it into play at present. There's lots of product development happening. Awesome. I think for me it's about achieving my goals for Gyro, and my goals for Gyro would just be what other companies can we purchase that bring something to the table? Do we have what's upstream and what's downstream, what might feed into Gyro? So we've already done that. We've purchased a mold making company as well, and how can we create efficiencies there, and what technology is out there, how can we use data better, what robots can we use, so that I get that kind of nerdy stuff.
Yeah, I like that. Some big questions, which is cool. Really inspiring conversation. Thank you so much, Trudi, and love that you just sort of found yourself in this business, but now running with it and so passionate about it, and the team behind you. That definitely is evident in what you're talking about and what you're saying. So thank you so much for insight into your world. And I don't want your tea to go cold, so I think we should finish it up there. But thanks again for your time.
No worries. Thank you very much.